I am working on a mix right now that I recorded yesterday. It was my first time recording a full band, 5 people at the same time, and I'm going to do a bigger video later on about what I learned from that experience. But today we're just going to look at 2 things. 1, doing some mixing of vocals with compression, and 2, doing the same with some rhythm guitar and lead guitar tracks that are going to blend together. So let's just get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to work on is the 2 guitar tracks. We have one here, track number 5, that is going to be the lead guitar track. Track number 6 is going to be the rhythm guitar track. And both guitar tracks, they mix really well together. They're very wall of soundy, if that makes sense. You know, a lot of ringing out chords. And at first I was going to pan them, you know, a little bit. Not completely hard pan, but, you know, somewhere in the left center and right center spectrum. But I kind of really like how they're blending together, and when the lead guitar breaks into a solo, I'm going to raise that guitar anyway, so that won't be a big deal. So let's just play back. Right now, both of these guitars are just playing straight without any compression. Let's hear how it sounds. I have it just about where I want it to be in the mix. So this is one of them. This is the rhythm track. A lot of bleed from the drums. This guitar amp was much farther away from the drum set, and you could clearly tell that. One of them. Let's mute the other one. And there's no EQ on any of these guitars. Okay, so let's send them through some compression now. I'm sending it through this compressor here, so look for the pretty LEDs on that one. And I'm going to unmute them from playing, you know, I'm not going to have these tracks playing along. It's not going to be parallel compression is what I'm saying. I'm turning these tracks off and sending them to that compressor, and I'm going to be playing it back over here on this track. Right now it's set at a ratio of 5. I'm probably going to... Now, let's go to 3. Let's start with 3. Attack time, about medium slow, and a fast release. It's kind of typical of how I usually set it. I don't hear nothing. I accidentally had reverb on it. That's why it sounded so terrible. Alright, so this is the compressed track. Okay, so I want to do an A-B comparison now of both the raw tracks, the guitar tracks, and the compressed track, and I'm going to A-B them on and off. We're going to start with the compressed track and then go to the raw track. Alright, ready? Back to the compression. I don't know. I don't think it's doing it justice. Honestly, I think it sounds better without the compression. I'm going to throw the vocals roughly in there somewhere. Maybe, you know, you should always be listening to your compression in relation to the other instrumentation. And vocals are going to be, obviously, a really strong point of the song. So let's throw the vocals in there roughly where I want it to be, and let's do the A-B comparison again. Once again, we're going to start with the compressed tracks. It's all right. a minute. I don't know. Now I'm second guessing it. Now, let's do a little more mixing. This is, I'm not sure yet. You know, with the vocals in, it as soon as I throw the compressor on the guitar tracks, the vocals stand out so more. And this whole time up until this point, I've been struggling on getting the vocals to stand out as much as I want to. Now the question is, how much do I want them to stand out? I don't necessarily want them to be super clear. If it fits the song, maybe, you know, a little push in the background is not a bad thing. Yeah, and this was supposed to be like a live session, so in live session kind of attitude, it makes me lean more towards hiding the vocals a little bit, because that's usually how it sounds live, right? And when you hear the vocals more, it's a little more produced. So let's do a little more tweaking here. I'll try to narrate as best as I can. I'm also in the middle of mixing the vocals too, so it's like, do I need to change the vocals? Do I need to change the guitar? It's like there's so many options you could take, and at the end of the day, a good recording engineer or a recording mixer or a mixing engineer, whatever the term may be, you know, that's what's going to make a mix engineer great. You know, having a really objective opinion that, or opinion of ear rather, that they know it's good. That's going to be the best mix for the song. Let's keep playing here. Actually, I'm actually liking it with the compression. I don't know. Maybe by the time I'm done mixing the vocals, I might change back. Let's turn off the camera for now, and I'll come back when I come to better conclusions. All right, it's literally 10 seconds later. So I'm definitely of the opinion that with the compression, it definitely sounds more produced and more studio. If I don't add the compression, it's very much of a live sound. Honestly, I don't know which route to go because they're both good. See, that's kind of the hard thing about compression is it's you need to play with your faders. This is why I recommend you get a mixing board, because if you're doing this on the computer, that's just not an efficient way to do this. You really need a mixing desk where you can make very subtle movements back and forth, and it's much easier and much better than clicking on a computer. So, like, when you're compressing, right, this is actually what I was going to talk about with the vocals, but since we're talking about it now with the guitars, I might as well get into it. You know, I'm feathering how much the raw tracks are, one, playing on their own without the compression, and even when I'm sending it to the compressor, I'm looking at how much gain reduction I'm getting on the meters. At the same time, I'm increasing and decreasing the final volume fader, right? So you're kind of playing with the amount of reduction, making sure whatever your end result is, it's going to be even in the mix. And, you know, once again, that's where the subjectivity comes in, and what makes a good mixing engineer. I'm just going to do it in real time, and let's see what happens. You know what? Screw the compression on the guitars. I like it without it. It's good to test that stuff out, obviously, right? Let's just focus on the vocals now. I'm going to do the same thing. You know, I've been doing it this whole time, but moving the fader, looking at how much compression is happening on this meter here, or this compressor here. The bottom one in red is the gain reduction. The meter's a little screwed up, so you'll see it kind of flicker when it goes high. It's not distorting, it's just this meter's a little fucked up. You'll see that. So let's play with the vocals. Let's start without any compression. You can't even hear it, right? I had the fader all the way up and you can't even hear it. This is why I always tell people, if you're trying to learn how compression works, vocals are the first spot to start, just because it's so obvious. I mean, like, once I throw the compressor on there, ooh, baby, it's going to sound so much better. Right now I have a ratio of, like, I have 4-to-1 on there. The singer himself, he was very soft-spoken in his delivery. You know, he wasn't, like, a very stereotypical, like, rock singer, right, belting. So, you know, his dynamics, although they were going from soft and high, he was very consistent So, you know, sometimes when someone's belting, you kind of have to ride the fader back and forth. But I'm only going to have to do that a couple times in the song as the verses and choruses come. All right, let's add some compression. All right, no reverb. Let's add the reverb. God, I love reverb. See, now in this part, it's not giving me enough compression. I can't hear him. So, like, I'm going to have to mark down these spots, you know, verse, chorus, whatever, so I know where to put the fader. So it's getting the right amount of compression, and it's coming out right here. Rather than adjusting the volume here, I'm adjusting this fader because this is the raw track where, you know, his dynamics, you know, are in a softer part of the song. So I'm compensating on the raw track and not the final product because I want the proper amount of compression. Does that make sense? Hopefully I'm making sense. I don't know, man. I think I'm just going to end this video. We've learned enough. And we're back. So I actually want to show one more thing with the vocals that I was trying to show before. So as I was explaining, the vocalist, you know, his vocal delivery, he would start very soft and build up to a belting vocals. And I talked about this before when I recorded with that kid John Mullen. He does the same thing, and it's not dissing either of these vocalists. In fact, just the opposite, right? You want your vocalist to have this wide dynamic range and to build up the song, you know. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when it comes down to mixing, you kind of have to compensate for that, right? And in a soft part of the song, you know, my compressor's set up fine, my fader's set up fine, but once he gets to that build-up point, you see my meter starts getting maxed out, and there's like the tiniest bit of distortion on the vocals that, honestly, it's probably something only I would notice, but it's killing me, and I need to compensate for it. So I just want to show you that part I'm talking about. To be lost, not found, mistaken me, and the pieces of light shines, and it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. So that's the part right there. You know, when you hear, alright, that part. Wow, I did that terribly. But that's what I'm trying to make. So let's try to compensate a little bit for when he belts out that final note. Maybe that's all it needs. Maybe I just need to move the fader a tiny bit. And, you know, that loss in volume will be compensated with the compressor, so I shouldn't need to move the fader over here, at least that much. Oh, it hurts to be lost, not found, mistaken me, and the pieces of light shines, and it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. I think that's it. I think that's all I gotta do. I think I just have to lower it a bit when he starts to build up, slowly, because, you know, he's building up volume. And, of course, you want the volume to go up a little bit. You don't want to completely neutralize it. You want it to be that climax. You know, that's where we'll end this quickie, with the climax.
Actually, I prefer it slow.
Oh, he likes slow.